Rain lashed against the windows of the sleek black sedan as it cut through the city's glistening streets. Inside, Billionaire CEO Arthur Vance stared out at the blur of neon lights, his mind a whirlwind of stock prices, quarterly reports, and the multi-million-dollar merger he was about to finalize. He was a man who commanded boardrooms, whose every word could shift markets. He was powerful, respected, and utterly alone. As the car idled at a red light, a sound faint and fragile cut through the hum of the engine and the drumming of the rain. It was a whisper, so soft he almost dismissed it as a trick of his tired mind. But then he heard it again, a tiny, trembling voice from the back seat. "No one comes for me." Arthur's blood ran cold. He wasn't alone. He spun around, his heart hammering against his ribs. There, huddled on the floor behind the passenger seat, was a small child, a little girl no older than 6 or 7, with wide, terrified eyes and clothes that were thin and soaked through. Her hair was matted, and tear tracks stained her smudged cheeks. Who are you?" Arthur stammered, his voice uncharacteristically shaky. "How did you get in my car?" The girl flinched, pulling her knees tighter to her chest. She didn't answer, just stared at him with an expression of pure, unadulterated fear. His driver, startled by his boss's sudden outburst, turned around. "Sir, is everything all right?" "There's a child in the car, David," Arthur said, his mind racing. Had she snuck in when he had left the door ajar for a moment at his last stop? It seemed impossible. He softened his voice, turning back to the girl. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. What's your name?" She hesitated, her lower lip trembling. "Lily," she whispered, the name barely audible. "Lily," Arthur repeated gently. "That's a beautiful name. Lily, why did you say no one comes for you?" Fresh tears welled in her eyes and spilled down her cheeks. "Because they don't," she choked out. "Mommy said she was going to the store. A long, long time ago. She never came back. The lady at the house, she gets angry. She says I'm too much trouble, so I ran away. I was hiding. I'm sorry." The simple, heartbreaking words struck Arthur with the force of a physical blow. The merger, the stock market, the entire empire he had built, it all faded into insignificance. All that mattered was this tiny, shivering girl hiding in the dark, convinced she was utterly alone in the world. "David, change of plans," Arthur said, his voice firm with a newfound purpose. "Forget the meeting. Find the nearest 24-hour department store." "Sir, the board is waiting," David began, confused. "The board can wait," Arthur cut in, his eyes never leaving Lily. "This is more important." A short while later, under the sterile, bright lights of the store, a strange scene unfolded. The formidable Arthur Vance, a man known for his ruthless business acumen, was kneeling in the children's section, patiently helping Lily pick out a warm coat, new shoes, and a fluffy pink dinosaur. He bought her a hot chocolate from the store's cafe, watching as she sipped it with small, careful hands, her eyes finally losing some of their fear. He learned her story in fragments. She'd been passed from one temporary home to another after her mother disappeared, each one colder than the last. She felt like a ghost, unseen and unwanted. The phrase, "no one comes for me," wasn't just a child's fear. It was the sum of her entire existence. As he watched her, a forgotten memory surfaced in Arthur's own mind. A small boy standing alone in a vast empty hallway of a boarding school, waiting for parents who were always too busy, always on another business trip. He remembered the hollow ache of loneliness, the feeling that he was an inconvenience, a line item on their schedule. He had buried that feeling under layers of success, ambition, and wealth, but here it was, reflected back at him in the eyes of this little girl. He had spent his life building an empire of things, but he had no one to share it with. His magnificent penthouse apartment was just an empty space. His life was a series of transactions. He had everything, and yet he had nothing. Lily, in her innocence and pain, had held up a mirror to his own soul. His business trip had become a rescue mission, but he was slowly realizing he wasn't just rescuing her. She was rescuing him. He made a call, not to his lawyers or his business partners, but to Child Protective Services. He used his influence not to close a deal, but to ensure Lily was taken somewhere safe, somewhere warm. He didn't just hand her over. He went with her. He sat in the brightly colored waiting room, holding the pink dinosaur, promising her that this time would be different. "I will come for you, Lily," he said, looking her directly in the eye. "I promise, every day if I have to. You are not alone anymore." A tiny, hopeful smile touched her lips for the first time. It was a smile that was worth more than any corporate merger, more than all the billions in his bank account. The days that followed were a blur of legal meetings and social workers. Arthur Vance, the corporate titan, dedicated his every resource to one single, unwavering goal: becoming Lily's legal guardian. He navigated the complex system with the same relentless determination he usually reserved for hostile takeovers. Many in his circle were baffled. "You're risking your reputation, your entire schedule for a random child?" his COO asked, incredulous. Arthur simply looked at him. "I'm not risking anything. I'm gaining everything that matters." In the end, he succeeded. The day he brought Lily home to his sprawling apartment, it no longer felt empty. It was filled with her small giggles as she chased a ball down the long hallway, with the smell of slightly burned pancakes they made together on a Saturday morning, with the sound of him reading bedtime stories and a voice filled with a tenderness he didn't know he possessed. The whisper in the back of his car had shaken his world, but it had also rebuilt it. It taught him that true wealth isn't measured in dollars but in connection. It's in the feeling of a small hand slipping into yours. It's in the quiet knowledge that you are the person who comes for someone. Arthur Vance was still a CEO. He was still a powerful man. But now he was something more. He was a father. And in a little girl's world, he was the hero who finally came for her. He had found the one thing his money could never buy: a family. And in saving Lily, he had finally truly saved himself. Thank you so much for watching. This story is a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected moments are the ones that lead us to our greatest purpose. If this touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more inspiring stories. We'll see you in the next one.